ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Thank you very much, dear devotees, for joining our Chaitanya Bhagavat session. We are reading from the Ādi Khaṇḍa of Śrī Caitanya Bhāgavata by Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur. All the translations and purports are by His Divine Grace, Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, who is the revered spiritual master of our beloved founder Acharya, Om Vishnupad Shri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. We are reading chapter 12 of the Ādi Khaṇḍa, and previous Sunday we stopped at verse number 62, which talks about the mercy shown by Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu to everyone. So we'll continue from verse number 63. Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Padaya Vaikunthanath Navadvipapure Mukunda Sanjaya Bhagya Vantera Duyare. Our Nimai, he is around 16-17 years old, and he is married to Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi. He is living with his mother and his wife, Mother Shachi Devi, and his wife, Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi. He is a grihastha. His father, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's father, Śrī Jagannath Mishra, has already left this world. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's elder brother, Śrī Vishwarup, has also left the household. He has taken sannyas. So Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the only child to his mother. His occupation is that of a teacher. Being a Brahman, his profession is to teach. He teaches Sanskrit Vyakaran, Sanskrit grammar. And he is the beloved of everyone in Navadvip. Everyone loves Nimai Pandit. And Nimai Pandit is very attractive, but also his behavior is very unique, very enchanting. Let us see some very beautiful behavioral characteristics of Nimai Pandit during this phase of his divine Leela. He is Vaikuntanath. Padaya Vaikuntanath Navadvipa Pure. In Navadvip, our Vaikuntanath, Nimai Pandit, Padaya, he is teaching. Where Mukunda Sanjaya Bhagyavantera Duyare. In the house, in the courtyard of a very great, fortunate person called Mukunda Sanjaya. Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Ādi Gadādhara. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahashaya, in our Gaur Arti, he writes the name of this very fortunate devotee, Sanjaya Mukunda. So in the house of Sanjaya Mukunda, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu would teach. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu manifested his pastimes in Navadvip as Nimai Pandit, as a very simple Brahman. He did not display his material opulence of wealth. He played the role of a poor Brahman, almost, you could say. Poor Brahman, very simple Brahman. Although there is no question of poverty. He is Vaikuntanath. He is Lakshmipati. There is no question of poverty. But if Krishna wants to, the Supreme Lord wants to demonstrate, present himself as a simple Brahman, who are we to question? Lord Ramachandra, although among the wielders of weapon, I am Ram, Lord Krishna says. But still, in the war, he demonstrated on so many occasions, his dependence on the devotees. He is showing his dependence on Hanumanji to carry him on his shoulders as he is fighting against Ravan. Then he is demonstrating his dependence on King Indra to send his divine celestial chariot and his charioteer, Matali, as he is in the final face-off with Ravan. He is showing his dependence on Agastya Muni to receive from him the Brahmastra that he would use in the future to slay Ravan. Lord Ramchandra is showing his dependence on Vibhishan to tell him the proper technique, the mystery, how to kill Ravan. He is showing his dependence on Sugriv to discover where Srimati Sita Devi has been hidden and abducted by Ravan. So although Lord Ramchandra is Sarva Samartha, he is Aptakam, he is Satya Sankalpa, he is Purushottam, he is the most powerful. He is showing his dependence on his devotees, taking service from them. Similarly, today, my dear friends, in the pages of Śrī Caitanya Bhāgavata, today and in our next session also, we are going to read some very sweet pastimes of Nimai Pandit. How, even though he is Vaikuntanath, he is the Supreme Lord, he is going to the homes of different devotees to accept service from them. Our Juhu temple was attacked by some goons in the 1970s. Shri Radha Ras Bihari. Now, just before Ras Leela, when Arishthasur attacked Vrindavan, Krishna took this powerful demon Arishthasur. With the walking of Arishthasur, the pregnant cows were having miscarriages. He was so scary. His horns were disturbing the clouds in the sky as he walked. He was so huge. And our Krishna, who at that time was hardly 10 years old, he grabbed Arishthasur with his hind legs, swirled him in the air, and started bashing him, banging him on the ground as if he was a wet piece of rag. Like a washerman, a dhobi, might hit a wet piece of cloth on a rock. Krishna beat Arishthasur like that. Arishthasur was so powerful, no bullets or arrows or even bombs could stop him. Arishthasur alone is enough to destroy the Russian army, the American army, the Indian army, Pakistani army, all the armies of the world put together. They cannot defeat Arishthasur. Why? Because Arishtasur's power was not coming from gunpowder or some nuclear weapons. Arishtasur's power came from yoga, yogic powers, mystic powers. He had siddhis. He could become small. He could take the form of a bull. He could take the form of a demon. He could take the form of a human, like Putana. These were very extraordinarily powerful demons. Imagine Putana, she could take any form. If there is a war between two countries, imagine an adversary who could take the form of your president or prime minister of your country or commander-in-chief of your country and just enter into the palace or into the White House or into the headquarters and impersonate. Imagine the power. If Putana wanted, she could be 12 miles long. Can we even imagine a creature 12 miles long? Think about it. What will a 9 mm bullet do? Someone who is 12 miles big. So these were extraordinary demons. And Krishna very effortlessly humbled Arishtasur and Putana and killed them. And like that, he would kill every day several demons. All the 11 years that Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan. Until the last day he was killing Keshi. So can Radha Ras Bihari not defend themselves? Pratima nahi tumi sakshad Vrajendra Nandan. Our Shastra teaches us that the deity of Krishna in the temple is non-different from Krishna. There is no difference between Shri Vigraha and Krishna's own Swarup. No difference. So can Radha Ras Bihari not defend themselves? Of course they can. But Shri Vigraha, Graha means to accept, Grahan Karna, and V means Vishesh Rupena. Vigraha is a very special, Vishesh form, special form of the Lord, where he is appearing in the midst of his devotees for only one purpose: to accept the loving service of the devotees. So Krishna will not bathe himself, Krishna will not wake up, Krishna will not sleep, Krishna will not eat. Everything the devotees have to do for Krishna. Like in this material world, when a patient is not able to do the activities of daily living, everything has to be done for the patient. We say, oh, that patient is total care dependent. We use the word total care dependent. And Krishna, aham bhakta paradhino. He becomes so subservient to his devotees, voluntarily seeing the sincere appeal of a pure devotee who is inviting Krishna at the time of prana pratisthapana. Krishna voluntarily enters this contract. I will appear. Radha and Krishna will appear. And we will not do anything by ourselves. We are yours. Aham bhakta paradhino. From today we are completely dependent on you. You put us to bed, you wake us up, you arrange our festivals, you bathe. We will wear whatever clothes you wear, whatever clothes you give us. We will wear whatever garland you make for us. We will accept whatever jewelry you choose. We will eat whatever you give us. We will celebrate whatever festivals you arrange for us. Kirtan festivals, Holi festival, Nauka Vihar festival, Jhulan festival. We'll accept. We have just come to accept your love, which means we have come to accept your protection also. Krishna is putting himself under the loving care and protection of the devotees. As Krishna, he can protect himself, he can protect the whole world. He can protect religion. He is Dharma Gupta and he is Bhakta Rakshak. He is a protector of his devotees. But as Shri Vigraha, Krishna has come to accept our love and our service. So we have to protect Krishna. If it is cold, Krishna feels cold. And it is our duty to give Krishna warm clothes. If it is warm, it is our duty to fan him with the chamar and do his shringar, decorate him with weather appropriate clothes. Even the water with which we bathe him should be ritu anukul. It should be appropriate for the weather. In winter, warm water. In summer, nice, refreshing, cool water. Just like Yamuna Devi arranges, like that. So this is Krishna's mood. And he accepts protection of his devotees, service of the devotees. That's why Shripad Ayendra Prabhu, he very famously in a deity worship seminar, Shripad Ayendra Prabhu, beloved disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he said, he spoke from his heart, he spoke with realization. What did Shripad Ayendra Prabhu say? One should not have deities in one's home unless one is willing to sacrifice everything for them. If there is a fire in the house, first we must run to rescue our deities. If that love is there, that attachment is there, that devotion and dedication is there, then we can have deities. Then we can have deities. So when there was fire in Shripad Ayendra Prabhu's room, as an acharya, he actually lived by the divine teachings. In the morning, when devotees discovered his holy form in this room which was completely burnt, none of the deities were touched by the fire. And Shripad Ayendra Prabhu was found clasping the lotus feet of Shri Shri Nitai Shachi Sut, his beloved deities, Gaur Nitai deities. He was clasping their lotus feet, trying to move them outside his burning room. That is prem. Only a premi bhakta, only a loving devotee can do this. When there is fire, there is so much panic. And my Shiksha Guru, Shriman Amarendra Prabhu, is telling us that tomorrow happens to be
Shiksha disciple Prabhuji.
Shripad Ayendra Prabhu's Divine Appearance Day. So it is very amazing that Shripada Indra Prabhu, we are hearing about Shripada Indra Prabhu today. So on this note, we will begin listening to the beautiful interactions of Nimai Pandit with different devotees of Navadvip. Nimai Pandit does not have a place to conduct his school. So he goes to the house of Sanjay Mukunda. And there is a Durga Mandap in the courtyard. And that is where every day Nimai Pandit conducts his school. Surrounded by his loving students, he sits and enjoys his Vidya Vilas Leela, his education pastimes. Padaya Vaikunthanata Navadvipapure Mukunda Sanjaya Bhagyavantera Duyare. In the courtyard of Sanjay Mukunda's house. And how is he described? Bhagyavanta. Bhagyavanta. Externally, it appears that Sanjay Mukunda is doing a favor to Nimai to give him a place where he can have his school. But actually, he is fortunate that Nimai, our beloved Lord, is placing his lotus feet in the courtyard of Sanjay Mukunda. Paksha Prati Paksha Sutra Khandana Sthapana Vakhane Ashesha Rupe Śrī Caitanya Paksha Prati Paksha Sutra Khandana Sthapana. Arguments, counter arguments, establishing a principle, refuting that principle. According to the meaning of a sutra, Sutra Khandana Sthapana, Vakhane Ashesha Rupe Śrī Caitanya. All these were explained in various ways by Sachinandan Gaurahari. Arguments, counter arguments, establishing, refuting. He would show his tremendous learning. Goshti Saha Mukunda Sanjaya Bhagyavan Bhasaye Anande Marma Najana Yetan. Although they could not understand Nimai Pandit's explanations, the fortunate Mukunda Sanjay and his family members all Bhasaye Anande Marma. Bhasaye Anande. They floated in waves of ecstasy, even though Marma na janaye. Even though they did not understand all the different explanations, arguments, counter arguments that Nimai would talk, this very elevated topics he would discuss. And Sanjay Mukunda could not understand everything. But nevertheless, they liked it and they floated in ecstasy.
Hare Krishna. Sorry to disappoint all of you. His Grace Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu is a little busy with, he got a emergency admission. I think patient is serious. So he told me to serve. So Mukta Sangha Prabhu, with your permission.
Please, Prabhu, we are very thankful to you.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So can you tell me verse number, Prabhuji?
I think he was doing 64. I think.
Finished up to 64?
Yes, I think so. 64.
Okay.
Started with 62, he just did two slokas.
What is that, Prabhuji?
No, he started with 62, he did 64, I guess.
Okay. Śrī Caitanya Bhāgavata, Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaye Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaye Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Goshti Saha Mukunda Sanjaya Bhagyavan Bhashaye Anande Marma Na Janayita. Although they could not understand the Lord's explanations, the fortunate Mukunda Sanjay and his family all floated in waves of ecstasy. Vidya Jaya Kariya Thakur Jaya Ghare Vidya Rase Vaikunthera Nayaka Vihare. After completing his teaching at school, the Lord of Vaikuntha returned home, still absorbed in his scholastic pastimes. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, being the Supreme Lord himself, innumerable Lakshmis, innumerable Saraswatis, innumerable Durga Devis, innumerable Annapurna Devis, They all sit at the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Saraswati Devi is worshipped in this world. Ya kundendu tushara hara dhavala, ya shubhra vastravrita, ya veena varadanda mandita kara, ya shveta padmasana. Saraswati Devi as the goddess of learning, as the ultimate authority on Shastra, is being worshipped because it is she who is the Sanskrit language, the language Devavani, Girvana Bharati, the mother tongue of the demigods. It is she who is the medium through which the Vedas are written by Vyasadeva. But ultimately, Saraswati sits at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, describing him. So when Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu teaches, it is very different from when other teachers teach. Other teachers are under Saraswati, so they try their best to reach and explain what Saraswati Devi is. But when Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu speaks, Saraswati Devi is under her. So when he speaks in complete authority of millions and millions of Saraswati Devis put together. It is Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental, unparalleled, inconceivable scholarship that mesmerized the residents of Navadvip. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu could explain Krishna through any word possible. Till then, the grammatical rules were very stale and dry. In fact, Srila Jiva Goswami says that Sanskrit grammar is like finding water in a desert. It's very difficult. Pade pade chaskhalanam, which means even if the person studies Sanskrit grammar for a long, long time, he will have to fall and crawl his way through the rules of Sanskrit grammar. And to find some joy through Sanskrit grammar is like trying to chew a dry piece of bamboo wood. There is no rasa. It is not sugarcane. But when Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu spoke, because he is Krishna himself, and at the same time imbued with the devotion of Srimati Radharani, Radharani can see Krishna in anything and everything. When Srimati Radharani is in separation from Krishna, I heard this from the lips of my holy spiritual master, Srila Guru Maharaj. He said that when Radharani is in separation from Krishna, she tells Brinda Devi that you're making arrangements for all the kunjas of Braj. Now I don't feel like seeing anything black. I don't want to see the cuckoo birds. Although they're singing so melodiously, I don't like their complexion. Their dark complexion, their dark skin represents, or their dark complexion reminds me of this soft, dark, bluish-black, rain-filled monsoon cloud complexion of Shyamsundar. I don't feel like seeing the black bumblebees because they remind me of Shyamsundar. This is Radharani. She can see Krishna. Even in her man, she can see Krishna in anything and everything black. So imagine Krishna as the root of all Sanskrit grammar, at whose lotus feet Mother Saraswati sits, imbued with the devotion of Radharani, who can see Krishna in everything, is teaching grammar. So in every rule possible, in every grammatical, verbal explanation possible, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu could actually explain Krishna in an unparalleled scholarship and scholastic manner. And this is the same scholarship that we see in Rupa Goswami, in Raghunath Das Goswami, in Srila Jiva Goswami. Rupa Goswami has written one poetry. It is really fascinating. I'm just giving as an example. It is the third verse of the Prathama Chaitanya Ashtakam written by Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami writes, Swarupam Bibhrano Jagadatulam Advaita Prapanna Shrivaso Janita Paramananda Garima Hari Dinodhari Gajapati Kripotse Katarala Sachaitanya Kimme Punarapi Drishoryasyati Padam. Srila Rupa Goswami calls Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu by the following address, calls, in loving calls of devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Swarupam Bibhrano Jagad Atulam Advaita Daita. Your Advaita Daita, O Gauranga Mahaprabhu, you are very dear to the heart of Advaita Acharya. And Swarupam Bibhrano Jagad Atulam. Your Swarup, your form is unparalleled in this world. Swarupam Bibhrana Jagat Atulam. In this world, in this Jagat, your Swarup is Atul, Atulyam, which means unparalleled. And Advaita Daita, you're very dear to the heart of Advaita Acharya. Prapanna Srivaso. At your lotus feet is the surrendered Srivas Thakur. Janita Paramananda Garima. And you have very great respect for Paramananda Puri. Oh Mahaprabhu, now finally Rupa Goswami says, Hari Dino Dhari Gajapati Kripotse Katarala. Very, very beautiful. This I'm mentioning with respect to how Rupa Goswami has inherited the devotional scholarship of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami says, Hari Dina Uddhari Gajapati Kripotse Katarala. Now, who is Gajapati? The king of elephants? That is the king of Jagannath Puri, Maharaj Pratap Rudra. The king of Jagannath Puri is called Gajapati. And who is Mahaprabhu? He's Hari, he's Gaur Hari. So Hari Dinodhari, that Mahaprabhu, Hari, Gaur Hari, is Dina Uddhari. He is the uplifter of the fallen. Gajapati Kripa Utseka Tarala. He is very eager to splash the waves of mercy on the king of Jagannath Puri, which means Mahaprabhu is very eager to give his mercy to Maharaj Pratap Rudra. But at the same time, so we know Maharaj Pratap Rudra is very dear to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu wants to, as Gaura Hari, he wants to give mercy to Gajapati, Maharaj Pratap Rudra, and embrace him with the waves of his mercy. This is one meaning. But another meaning, Rupa Goswami is saying, the word Hari means a lion. And Gajapati means the best among elephants. So you can see that a lion always is eager to finish an elephant, not to give mercy to an elephant. You'll never see lion giving mercy to an elephant. Lion is always seen to pull an elephant down and kill him. But this lion is very interesting. This lion called Gaura Simha, the golden lion of mercy, Mahaprabhu, is very eager to give mercy to the best among elephants, the Gajapati, which means the king of Jagannath Puri. So in Sanskrit, this is called Virod Abhas Alankar, when opposite ideas are put together to heighten the poetic effect. So lion will never give mercy to an elephant, but the golden lion called Mahaprabhu is very eager to give mercy to Gajapati, the king of elephants, which means Maharaj Pratap Rudra. So Rupa Goswami has hidden, on one level he's saying Mahaprabhu is very merciful to Maharaj Pratap Rudra, but on the other layers of meaning he's saying, but Mahaprabhu being a lion should have eaten up, which means neglected, the Gajapati, the king of elephants. But he, like the lion, is very eager, or unlike the lion of this world, he's very eager to give mercy. This is called Virodabhas. Opposite ideas, contradictory ideas are put together to glorify. So it was Mahaprabhu's desire that one should have the vision of seeing Krishna in all circumstances, especially through Sanskrit language. And Rupa Goswami established that in this world with Jiva Goswami. And that is also a hidden meaning of Śrī Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. Rupa Goswami established Sanskrit grammar in this world through poetry in a way that even if the rules don't mean something Krishna conscious, Rupa Goswami can interpret that very beautifully. So Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, as Nimai Pandit, was enjoying these pastimes of scholarship, which he can do in other places, because here he's imbued not just with scholarship, but also with devotion. 67 onwards. Ekadina Vayudeha Mandya Kari Chal Prakashena Prema Bhakti Vikara Shaka. One day, on the pretext of sickness due to excessive gas, the Lord manifested transformations of ecstatic love. Achambite Prabhu Alaukika Shabda Bole, Gada Gadi Jaye Hase Ghara Bhangi Phele. The Lord suddenly uttered some unworldly sounds. Then he laughed as he rolled on the ground and nearly damaged the house. Hunkara Garjana Kore Malshat Pure, Sammukhe Dekhaye Jar Tahare Mare. He roared loudly and challenged everyone like a wrestler. Then he beat whomever he could catch. Kshane Kshane Sarva Anga Sthambakriti Hoy, Hena Murcha Hoy Loka Dekhi Paye Bhoy. Again and again, his entire body became stunned and he fell unconscious in such a way that people became frightened. Shunilena bandhugan vayura vikar, dhaiya ashiya shave kare pratikar. When Nimai's friends and relatives heard about his gastric disorder, they came running to treat him. Buddhimanta Khan ar Mukunda Sanjay, Goshti Saha Ailena Prabhura Alay. Buddhimanta Khan, Mukunda Sanjay, and their associates all came to the Lord's house. Vishnu Taila, Narayan Taila, Dena Shire, Sabe Kare Pratikar, Jar Hena Spure. They applied some medicinal oils on the Lord's head and tried to cure him any way they could. The Lord performed various pastimes by his own sweet will. How can he be cured by some external remedies? All the limbs of the Lord shivered. Sarva ange kampa prabhu kare asphalon. Hunkara shuniya bhoy pae sarvajan. All the limbs of the Lord shivered. He shouted loudly in such a way that everyone became frightened. Prabhu bole mui sarva lokera ishwar. Ami sarva lokera ishwar. Mahaprabhu is saying, I am the Lord of all. Loka means universes also, and loka means jivas also. Prabhu bole mui sarva lokera ishwar mui vishwa dhara mora nam vishwambar. He then declared, I am the Lord of all. I maintain the universe. Therefore, I am called Vishwambhar. We know this word, Vishwambharo, Dvijavaro, Yuga Dharma Palo, the first verse of Chaitanya Bhāgavata. Muishe, I am that. He's saying, I am he, I am he. Aham Brahmasmi. The highest meaning of Aham Brahmasmi is being explained. I am that. Muishe, Muitano Chine Kono John, Etabali Lada Dhai Dhare Sarva John. I am the Supreme Lord, but no one recognizes me. Saying this, the Lord tottered and everyone tried to catch him. Apana Prakasha Prabhu Kare Vayu Chale, Tathapina Bhuje Keha Tana Maya Bale. In this way, the Lord manifested himself on the pretext of gastric disorder, yet by the influence of his illusory energy, no one could understand him. Keha Bole Hoila Danava Adhishthan. Some said he's been possessed by a Danav, a ghost. Keha Bole Hena Bhuji Dakini Rakam. Oh, this is the work of some witch. Dakini. Keha bole sadai karena vakya vyoy. Athaeva haila vayu janiha nishchoy. Another said, since he is always speaking, it is certainly a gastric disorder. So the point in the discussion here is Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is displaying so many transcendental ecstasies. You see, when there is prem in the heart of the living entity, there will be effects. The internal effects are the personality feels extreme joy. Anand ambudi vardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadhanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. The personality, the person holding Krishna Prem in his heart, he feels supreme joy. Supreme joy. He feels that if somebody offers him the position of being a demigod, he will say, I don't want this position. I don't want this position. I don't want to go to heaven. If somebody says there is dukkha in this world is full of suffering, he will say, where is suffering? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my Lord, in all 14 directions that I see, actually there are 10 directions. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, in all 14 directions, and in the 14 planetary systems I see, there is only joy in all directions. This is the nature of someone with Krishna Prem. He is feeling joy, so he sees Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. The whole world is filled with joy. At the same time, you will see externally the person with Krishna Prem, he is crying in separation from Krishna, crying. So tears in this world means dukkha, which means pain. How is it possible that someone can be completely ecstatic and at the same time cry also? Like he's feeling joy in the heart and at the same time crying. How is it possible? Srila Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he gives a very beautiful example. He says that if you keep a flame of, like let's say if you keep a candle with a fire flame and you keep it next to ice cold ice block of ice, let's say very cold block of ice. You keep that fire flame next to it for 5 minutes. And then you take the flame away and you touch that portion of the ice block. You will feel some heat because of the flame, right? The flame has been kept close to that ice block. So you take the flame away after 5 minutes and you touch that ice block, you will feel some heat. But Srila Sanatana Goswami is asking this question: how can an ice block have heat? How can you burn? How can you feel the heat from a block of ice? It's not possible. So you're feeling the heat, but there is no heat because it's a block of ice. Why Srila Sanatana Goswami giving this example? He's saying it seems as if there is heat, but how can there be heat in the block of ice? Not possible. Similarly, when a pure Vaishnava is crying in separation from Krishna, it seems as if there is dukkha, but his heart is like a block of ice, full of joy. How can there be any heat there? How can there be any suffering in a block of ice full of joy of Krishna prema? Not possible. But however, when they see the distress in the life of other jivas, oh, the block of ice melts. The block of ice of joy in their heart, that melts by seeing the heat of pain in the lives of other devotees. One great Vaishnava, he says that many poets, they compare the heart of pure devotees to be like butter. He says this is a good example, but incomplete example. He says it's a wrong example. Why? Because butter has a property. You heat the butter, it will melt. But the heart of a Vaishnava is not like that. You torment, you torture, you give pain to the heart of a Vaishnava. His heart is not going to feel that pain because of the heat. If his heart is compared to butter, then the heat that is given from outside should melt that butter, which means his heart should feel some pain when he's tortured. But the heart, the butter heart, doesn't feel any transformation by the external heat on him. Like Prahlad Maharaj doesn't feel it. But the heart of a Vaishnava is such that when there is heat in other lives, then this butter melts. Like if you give heat here, then this butter will not melt. When you trouble a Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava, or you inconvenience a pure Vaishnava, he's not feeling any transformation. He's not feeling any distress. But when there is heat in their lives, the heart, the lives of others, then the butter of his heart melts. So this is Prem Dasha. This is the transformations of ecstasy. So what to speak of Śrī Radharani's Prem? We are talking about this Prem that is found even in the living beings of this world. Little bit, very little bit. And Srila Rupa Goswami has explained Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and then Prema. And this body cannot hold Prema. So when Prema starts rising, then the person leaves this body and becomes Nitya Lila Pravishta. Because when Prem rises in the heart, the desire to get Krishna, to find Krishna also rises. And naturally he enters the eternal pastimes. Then Rupa Goswami explains in the terrace of Prem, in the level of Prem, there are different stages. So even Hanumanji is at Prem for Ramachandra. Dhruva Maharaj is at Prem. Draupadi is at Prem. Pandavas are at Prem. Mother Yashoda also has Prem for Krishna. But they're not all in the same category of Prem. There is Sneha, Man, Pranay, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Atiruta Mahabhav, Madhanakya Mahabhav, Mohanakya Mahabhav, Modanakya Mahabhav, and then finally Madanakya Mahabhav. Ruda Bhav, Adiruta Mahabhav. Rupa Goswami has explained with definitions for each of these stages in his books. So he explains that it is only Srimati Radharani who is at the highest level, called as Madanakya Mahabhav, in that category of that ladder of Prem, of all the systematic hierarchy of devotees. And when Radharani is at that level, Rupa Goswami explains, when Radharani has separation from Krishna, Rupa Goswami gives a term. He says it is called Brahmanda Kshobhakarini. Brahmanda Kshobhakarini. That the distress in the heart of Radharani in separation from Krishna, it causes the whole creation to tremble. Kshobha means agitation. Brahmanda Kshobhakarini. The love that Radharani has for Krishna, it agitates the whole world. It is described that looking at Radharani crying in separation from Krishna, bumblebees are rolling in the dust on the banks of Jamuna. The fishes in Jamuna are crying in separation seeing Radharani in separation from Krishna. So much so that demigods are weeping. Lakshmi Devi, who's massaging the lotus feet of Narayan, is crying and hot tears are falling at the lotus feet of Narayana, seeing the state of Radharani in separation from Krishna. Rupa Goswami has written all this. And just like we know in the field of science, there is electric field, there is magnetic field, there is an influence around. So Rupa Goswami describes Asanna Janita Rit Vilodanam, which means whenever Radharani sits somewhere and she feels some separation from Krishna, all those sitting around Radharani, all their hearts are permeated with that same feeling that Radharani is feeling. All those associates are feeling that. So her prem is such that it doesn't just stay there, it slips over around and spreads. You know, when you have a pond, the water is restricted in that you could say boundary. But when there is a river which breaks open the banks and starts slipping and spreading all over, then there's no control over that water. So the love in the heart of other living beings is like pond. It is restricted. It's only affecting that person. But Radharani's love is like the ocean. There's tides and there's ripples on the surface and high tides and breaking all shores and banks and going to the hearts of all others around her also. So imagine when Krishna takes the bhav of Radharani and comes as Mahaprabhu. So he's crying, his body is trembling, hair is standing on end, complexion is changing. Who can describe? Nidhuvana nagari mohita manasa vigadita gadgada bhasham sakhe kalaya gauramudaram. Radha Mohan Prabhu, a very great Acharya, Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya, he has written that Nidhuvana Nagari, that Radharani who moves in Nidhivan, the Seva Kunj area of Vrindavan, in the Ras Sthali. Nidhuvana Nagari Mohita Manasa, when Radharani's heart is stolen by the flute sound of Krishna, what happens? Vigadita Gadgada Bhasham. Radharani is speaking words which are incoherent. Nobody's understanding because Radharani's heart has been stolen by the flute sound of Krishna. So now, even if Radharani has to call Krishna as Shyam, Sundar, Shyama, Sundara, these 5 syllables are also sometimes jumbled. And Shya, Su, Manda, like it's not even Shama Sundar in the right order. So Nidhivana Nagari, that gopi who's moving in Nidhivan, Mohita Manasa, when her heart has been stolen by the flute sound of Krishna, Vigadita Gadgada Bhasam. Vigadita. Her voice is Gadgada Bhasham. She's speaking choked in emotion, and at the same time, the words are incoherent. So imagine when Krishna takes her bhav and comes in Kali Yuga, and he stands in front of Jagannath as Mahaprabhu, he's not able to say those same syllables again. He is not able to say Jagannatha. So he goes he's not able to say it. Sakhe Kalaya Gauram Udaram. Oh, how merciful is Krishna. In his inner thirst to taste the mood of Radharani, he has come as Mahaprabhu to fill our hearts with the eternal thirst that we have had in separation, to give us in the container of our heart the nectar of Krishna Prem. So when Mahaprabhu is going through these transcendental emotions of ecstasy, who can understand? They are all trying to rub different medicinal oils on his body and on his forehead, thinking that there is some disease, there is some roga. Yes, there is a roga. This is certainly a roga. What roga is this? This is called Prem Roga. This is called Prem Roga. This is the disease of love for Krishna. Why are we saying it is a disease? Because it makes one dis-ease. See, now our situation is at ease. We are able to focus, we are able to hear, we are able to speak, we are able to write, we are able to bathe, we are able to eat. If Krishna Prem comes in our heart, this ease will not be there. Dis-ease. With the food in our hand, we will not know what to do with it. We will stand for hours under the shower, water is going and tears are coming, and where is my Shyam Sundar? The water from the shower will seem like Jamuna. And the person will not be able to be relatable in this world. Rupa Goswami has said this. Smera bhangi traya parichita sachi vistirna drishti Vamshi Nyasta Adara Kishalayam Ujwalam Chandrakena Govindakhyam Haritanumiha Keshitirthopakanthe Mahaprekshistava Yadi Sakhe Bandhu Sangestiranga. Rupa Goswami has said, oh dear members of Kali Yuga, if you really want to be happy in this world, if you really want to cut jokes with your friends and family and live lives normal, then I have a request. What is the request? Please don't go to Vrindavan on the banks of Keshi Ghat. Don't go. Then the person asks, why should we not go? Then Rupa Goswami says, Smera Bhangi Traya Parichita Sachi Vistirana Drishti. Oh, there is a very big thief standing there. He's ready to steal our heart, standing in a threefold bending form with his glances. And how are his glances? He's looking from one end to another end. He doesn't look straight. He's looking from end to end. He's looking from one corner, from one horizon to another. Vistirna Drishti. And Vamshi Nyasta Adara Kishalayam Ujwalam Chandrakena. Standing under the Kadamba tree on the night of the full moon night of Sharat Purnima. He has pressed the flute to his lips. Fresh, tender lips, which are like the freshly formed leaves. His name is Govinda, and every part of his body is a thief. Hari Tanumiha Keshi Tirtha Upakanthe, and he is standing on the banks of Jamuna at Keshi Ghat. Ma Prekshishtas, please don't go and see him. Tava Yadi Sakhe Bandhu Sanghestirangaha. Oh dear friend, if you like to be with your family, cut jokes and eat nice food and go to sleep and go to traveling, just be happy there. Don't go and see him, because if you go and see him, you will get this disease. You will not be happy at home. You will feel like running. Krishna has said, Natad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramamama. In the Gita, he has given a hint. If anybody comes to me, they will not return. You can't return. One-way ticket only. So this is disease. This is a roga. This is a very big roga. In Vidagdha Madhav Natak Srila Rupa Goswami has written that Krishna Prem is like the churning of the milk ocean. You know, the churning of the milk ocean pastime in the 8th canto. He says the heart of the Brajbasi is like a milk ocean. And Krishna churns it with his flute playing. So what happens? Two things come up. By the churning of the milk ocean, what happens? Two things come up. Poison comes out and nectar comes out. Right? So what is the nectar that comes out by hearing Krishna's flute? The nectar of the desire to meet him. And what is the poison that comes out? Oh, Krishna will meet you and leave you. Then there is separation. So the nectar of the happiness of meeting Krishna and the poison of separation from him, these two effects come out by the churning of the heart, the milk ocean pastime. So this is a roga. This is a disease. But we have only two options. Either we have bhava roga that Maya gives us by repeated birth and death, where there is only pain, there is only calamity, there is attachment. Then when we get attached to things, time takes it away. It's brutal. Or another disease, where at every moment we see Shyamasundar, at every moment we hear his flute sound, at every moment we hear the tinkling of his ankle bell, at every moment we hear his very beautiful, funny jokes into our ear, at every moment we feel the embrace, the soft butter-like body of Shri Krishna. Kotindu Shitangaka, Kaviraj Goswami has described the embrace of Krishna's body is like the rays of millions and millions of cooling moons. Kotindu Shitangaka. Karnanandi Sanarma Ramya Vachanam Kotindu Shitangaka. Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that Krishna's words mixed with metaphors and very beautiful articulated meanings and hidden meanings and laden with jokes, all of this put together is nectar to the ear, and his embrace is nectar to the skin. This disease is a better disease to have, because we have only these two options, either the first or the second. And Mahaprabhu in this section is displaying the roga of Krishna Prem, so that when we hear this, the roga of material existence can be taken out. So we'll pause here at 80, as everyone is misunderstanding Mahaprabhu's ecstatic symptoms to be some disorder of the body. And Mahaprabhu is very intelligently covering it up, like a Vaishnav does, even if there are tears in the eyes due to genuine feeling of devotion, the devotee hides it and says that, something went into my eye, or there's some soap in my eye, or I touched my eye and something is burning. The devotee may be feeling some ecstasy, genuine feeling, but he's hiding it by saying that, oh, my eyes are burning. So Mahaprabhu is feeling so much ecstasy and he's hiding it by saying it's actually a gastric problem. And all the Navadvip Vasis are coming and giving oils. But what oil can help someone whose heart is exploding with Krishna Bhakti in Krishna Prem? So we'll pause here. I'm really sorry. I didn't know what section is going on. And His Grace Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, as the expert doctor, so surrendered to his duty. He's on call. He's not just treating our consciousness spiritually, but also he's taking care of the material bodies of so many patients. So he had to step out, and I tried to speak something. So Mukta Sangha Prabhu and other Vaishnavas may kindly forgive me. I can hear His Grace Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu. So Prabhuji, I think would like to address all of us. Prabhuji is here at the door. Would you want to say something, Prabhuji?
No, Prabhuji, we are very grateful that you addressed all of us today and enlightened us. It is very sweet Gaur Katha. Very grateful to you, Prabhuji, and we hope that you are able to give us your association more and more. Mukta Sangha Prabhu, please.
Yes.
If you would like to.
Yeah, extremely grateful, Prabhu, Amrendra Prabhu. Thank you very much for pitching in. So if anyone has any questions, is that okay, Prabhu, if they ask you?
Sure. I don't know if I have the answers, but I can at least hear the questions.
Yes, devotees, you can please unmute yourself. And Vamshidhari Gopal Prabhu, you have?
Yeah. So thank you so much, Amrendra Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the more I hear about Radharani and Krishna's separation and their pain, and so we hear that the Radharani and Gopis had separation for 100 years. And I understand that the love in separation and the feeling in separation is higher than the feeling in union. So that part I understand, but the separation of 100 years, it's way too much, because even if we say that, okay, if we are having separation, but if it is union and then separation and union and then separation, then it is okay. But such a prolonged separation for 100 years plus and then never met again. So how come that be we can understand from our mundane understanding, how Krishna be so, and I understand that Krishna says that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one part I read, Mahaprabhu was saying that I went every day to meet Radharani every night. But we also hear such a separation prayers of Gopis and Radharani that it's so painful for them. So how do we understand that actually what's going on, or why Krishna was so that he didn't even meet once them again?
Actually, there is a whole 1 hour discussion on this topic. It is on the question, did Krishna leave Vrindavan? On YouTube.
Okay.
So maybe I will just, in the interest of time, point in that direction. Maybe that discussion can be heard, and if there are any more questions after that, we can, because there some titles that have been covered in that discussion is, did Krishna leave? If he left, why did he leave? And if it was justified for him to leave, why didn't he come back?
Right.
And if he couldn't come, then why didn't the Brajvasi step out and meet him?
Right.
And 5, between union and separation, which is higher, and why, and how to understand.
Okay.
So
it's on your YouTube channel, Prabhuji?
Should be.
Okay. I will look for it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
I'll share the link in the chat box.
There is one.
Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, I think if you're done with the patient, I think you should come and help me next to me answering questions.
I can sit at your lotus feet.
Mukunda Prabhu has a question.
I just put the lecture in the chat, okay? The YouTube link. You can save it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Mukunda Prabhu. Okay, sorry. There is a question on the chat window from Ananya Karant Prabhu. He says, does a sadhu who chants Sri Radha Naam attain Madanakhya Mahabhav?
Well, a personality who surrendered to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, will get Gaur Kripa. And Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Radharani. And as we discussed, Asanna Janita Rid Vilodanam, which means anybody who sits at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu gets permeated by the bhava of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu's bhav is Madanakhi Mahabhav. So the only way to touch that is by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. And the only way to get Mahaprabhu's mercy is to chant the mantra that he gave us, which is Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Again, if His Grace Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu wants to add or correct or input, I am just blabbering.
No, Prabhuji, I'm glad you're taking these questions, brother. I really don't know the answers like you. So I think Shampriya Mataji has a question.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर द क्लास. प्रभु जी, वो आप बता रहे थे कि आयेंद्र प्रभु लाइक he loved his deity so much कि वो fire, like when the fire happened also he was there to save them. तो वैसा भाव हमको लाने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, like for our deities, like क्योंकि हम जाते हैं like if we go to stay overnight तो deities को लेके जाते हैं, ऐसे बाहर जाते हैं बच्चे को लेके जाते हैं, उनको तो घर पे रख के जाते हैं, like वो भाव करने के लिए क्या.
The question in English is, how do we develop the love like Shripad Ayendra Prabhu has for his deities, that even if there's fire in the room, we have the spirit of saving them? Well, I cannot practically tell the answer because I don't have it myself. You know, whatever I will say is theoretical. It's like someone asking how to develop Shuddha Naam. I don't know. I have not developed it, so I don't know. But what I feel in this regard is, when my Shiksha Gurudev, Shripad Mukundatta Prabhu, had come home, and this question was asked to him about putting the deities to sleep and traveling. Sometimes devotees do that. They put their deities to sleep and travel for 1 week. And they come back, and then because carrying the deities, etc., could be some little, difficult sometimes. Or sometimes they give to another devotee to take care. So are these things okay? Again, if your Shiksha Guru or your superior has advised you to do that, all of you can kindly follow that advice. I'm just telling you, sharing what Shripad Mukundatta Prabhu told us. So he said that, will we put our child to sleep for 7 days and go somewhere? I said, if the answer is no, then the deities also we should not put. Will we give our children to someone else and we go for a vacation? We will not do that. We are constantly thinking, did my child eat? Are they taking good care? So best thing is to always take our children, right? That's what every parent will do. So best thing is to have deities that size and that weight and in that form that we can relate to and we can carry and take them everywhere. We feed them, we bathe them, we dress them, we sing for them, we chant for them, we very lovingly decorate them. And the more we decorate our deities, the desire to decorate ourselves will go away. The more we feed our deities, our desire to eat outside will go away. The more we celebrate festivals with our deities, the desire to celebrate our own birthday will go away. The more we decorate them with good ornaments, the more to decorate ourselves with good clothing will go away. So in this way, our deities should become our life. And yesterday I was reading Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, our beloved Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, has written that if somebody is worshipping the deities and superficially, externally doing everything, but not thinking of them throughout the day, then the deity worship is not first class. One should worship the deity and constantly keep thinking about them only. It's 11 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock, it's 4 o'clock, what to feed them, how to sing for them, what dress to give them, winter time, what they will be wearing, festivals, what they will be wearing, is it hot, is it cold? Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's dear disciple, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, when he was a little child, one time he was worshipping Radha Gopinath deities right from his childhood. So as a child, he was once, he was trembling at night. I think they saw that he had some fever. They were giving medicines, but the fever was not coming down. Then in his dream, he saw his deities who appeared and said, every night you put us a blanket, but it's so cold tonight. You are sleeping under a blanket, but you forgot to give us blanket. So we are trembling. You come and put blanket for us. And Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, in his childhood, like a spring, he got up of his bed and he went, and his deities had no blanket. So he put blanket to them. As soon as he put blanket to them, his fever came down. Similarly, in his old age, Srila Puri Maharaj was in his mutt, and at around 7:30 in the evening, he was crying in pain. He said, hey, it's burning. My back is burning. He was 99 years old. He said, my back is burning. My back is burning. My back is burning. It's seeming like my skin is peeling off. So Srila Bhakti Vibhud Bodhayan Maharaj, his personal servant, came and checked, and there was nothing. He said, Guru Maharaj, there's nothing. There's no insect, or there's no bite. There's nothing. He said, no, there is pain. Then after that, when the servant inquired with the head pujari, the head pujari said exactly at that time, as I was close to the deity, accidentally that ghee lamp touched the body of Gopinath. And Maharaj has served his deity all his life. So when that fire flame touched the body of Gopinath, his back burned. I am not talking about 500, 600 years ago. This is like, in the recent past. Prabhupada, our Prabhupada's god brother. So if we care for them, think about them, have pictures of our Thakurji in front of us, on our table, in our wallet, in our bag. Even when we are going out to a shopping mall, or we can take the deities, but we should have the picture. Maybe a wallpaper on the phone or something like that, in such a way that time and again we can keep seeing them. I think maybe by that, maybe we may develop some affection. But how to have the affection like Sripada Indra Prabhu, that I don't know.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
We have a question from Parima Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. What a wonderful class. Prabhuji, I had heard this in some class long back, that we cannot attain Ragatmika Bhakti, but we can only, assist the Ragatmika Bhaktas and attain. So what I'm trying to say is we cannot attain Madanakhya Mahabhav, right?
That's correct. We cannot attain, but it can be given to us.
Means?
Just like we can't go and get the milk from a female tigress.
Yes.
The milk of a female tigress can't be got by anyone except being a cub of that tigress. So can a human being go and get milk from a female tigress? Not possible. But if you become a cub, she will give that milk herself. Madanakya Mahabhav is like that.
Oh, so it is attainable, you mean, if we attain the mercy of Radharani.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you for this clarification, because I always thought that, Manjaris and all, they are not in the Madanakya Mahabhav. That was my understanding. So please clarify.
Srila Rupa Goswami in Ujjwal Nilamani, he explains Asanna Janita Vilodanam as one of the signs of Madanakya Mahabhav, which means wherever Radharani sits, her Madanakya Mahabhav is sprinkled all around. So Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, all the 6 Goswamis, they are all sprinkled with those waves of mercy, and they are ready to give it to us as well.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much for this clarification. I had this long-term misconception. That means Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Dandavat pranams to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. And it seems like no more questions. So again, on behalf of everyone, Prabhu, I would like to thank you very much and very grateful for your association. Hope to hear from you again.
Hare
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I want to express my gratitude to Mukta Sangha Prabhu and all the devotees for tolerating me, and special gratitude to His Grace Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu.
It's our good fortune, Prabhu, that you spoke to us. Thank you. We wish and hope to get more of your association. Dear devotees, please unmute and let us express our gratitude to Grace Amarinda Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, koti koti dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Radhe Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe
Shri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna dandavat pranam.
Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
Hare